In the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. I believe in the God of Israel. I believe in one God. I believe that Christ was manifest in the flesh is one God. Like the old Israel who painted lamb's blood on their doorpost, I believe that Christ is my true lamb, and his blood has been painted upon me. I believe that the same God of Israel will protect me from all evils and sickness of this world. And I will do my best to keep the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. I believe that my Messiah died for my sins. I believe that he raised from the dead. And I believe that he will come again to judge the whole house of Israel. I believe that my God has created the heavens and the earth and everything upon it. I believe in one God who is holy and righteous. I believe that the God of Israel is my Father. There is only one God. There is only one God of Israel. I will give my whole soul and body and spirit to the one God of Israel, for he is righteous and he is my Father. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Salah and Salah. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to AIJ Television, Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. AIJ, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And today we have our fantastic teacher, Matthew. And teacher Matthew is going to be talking a lot today about, or teaching, I should say, about the Israelite leaders of valor. And this is a, what do you call it? You can ask questions, interactive session. Yeah. So you're free to make comments, ask questions, and we will hopefully be able to
give you all the answers you're looking for.
That's it. So if you want to take it from there.
The thing about this is
louder.
That we want to teach, and we want you guys to at least go home with a better understanding of what we're talking about today, but not just today, every other week as well. Just the whole purpose is to gain that knowledge and absorb what we're teaching here. And like Elder Michael says, we want to talk about the unshakable leaders.
Yes.
Of Israel.
I looked at the topic, Israelite leaders of valor. And as you know, when we speak about valor, we're talking about bravery, right? Courage,
yep.
Right. When we talk about Israelite, it's the same thing. Yeah. Because only the Israelite will serve the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Nobody else on this planet knows the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
It's funny you say that because I think of leadership when I think about Israel.
Well, I was just going to say that. Because, so the point I'm making is Israelite, leadership, and valor, they all have the same meaning. So when you say Israelite leaders of valor, we're talking about the same foundation, if you will. Exactly. And that I think is what is very powerful about this message.
Foundation is actually, you always talk about that. It's
the structure.
When you set the proper foundation, that is what, you can't have a house with poor foundation, because what happens? Eventually, it might be fully built, but it's going to crumble because the foundation is weak. Exactly. But when you establish a strong foundation and, you start to build on top, and you go and you go and you go, then because the foundation is strong, that means whatever you're looking to do is going to be strong as well.
And not only that, it could withstand any challenges that you put.
Any challenges. Yes, don't get me wrong, you're going to have some weak points, like in the house, your weak points would be your windows. They could crack, someone could throw a rock there or whatever. But for the most part, when there's a huge storm, okay,
you're
my
safe.
Foundation's good, my house is good, it's not going to blow away. So foundation is definitely a big factor in this.
So not only is that topic one that is very, very strong, I was thinking, and I think we talked about this briefly, that this is a time for our reflection. I think we need to tell the world that this, for the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries, we have not yet entered into the new year of 2024.
Yes.
We are still in the year of 2023. As a matter of fact, tomorrow we enter into the last month of the year. It just so happens that
of our year.
Of our year, right, which is God's year. It's not man's year. So it is the 13th month which is the second Adar, as we call it.
Yeah.
So this is a time for us to really sit back. It's almost like the God of Israel set it up this time. Normally there's only 12 months, but this time he gave us 13 so that we could take a look back and see, did I do okay? Or do I need to make some improvements? Or, you know.
And you know what? It's quite fascinating because I'm not sure about you, Elder Michael. Have you ever tried to, you know, like you're talking to people that are not in Israel and you tell them, okay, yeah, my New Year's is not on December or January 1st or whatever. And they look at you strange, and then you tell them, no, my New Year's is around the springtime, right? And you explain to them, okay, if you really think about it, in the spring, what happens? New life, you know, the trees start blooming, the flowers start opening up, the animals start coming in, and it just makes sense.
Life.
Yes,
Life.
This is the new year.
Yeah.
Right? And so the reason why we brought that up is that leading into our new year, what are some of the things that you want to do for yourself?
Exactly.
How would you want to improve yourself leading into the new year? You know, they always have these New Year resolutions or whatever. That's fine. I think that's fine. But for us, what is our resolution? What do we want to do for our upcoming new year?
But you know what? I don't think it's fine, to be honest with you, because they're saying that in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
Because there's December, there's January, and then there's February. Yeah. So everything is dead. So to your point, though, when they make that statement, who doesn't understand the God of Israel, who are they representing? Let's call him who he really is. Satan. I'm done. Now, so you're going to serve your God on your time, but not on my time. So I say, get back to hell where you belong. And we're done. And I walk the other way. So you have God's New Year, which begins in the spring, like you're saying, Teacher Matthew. And then you have Satan's New Year, which is the beginning of January. In the middle of winter, everything is dead. Yeah. So, come on now. Yeah. Let's call it what it is.
Did we have a question over here?
No, she's just excited to see.
Excitement.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, to see you. Yeah, that's wonderful.
But, you know, Elder Michael, this also brings me to another point, this is why we are here. This is why we are Israel. We want to teach. We want to lead the people who don't understand the things that we do, right? Because, and don't get me wrong, I'm sure a lot of our brethren here, they didn't wake up in Israel, right? They weren't.
I only learned a few years ago.
Where were you again?
I was just a wild guy walking the paths of the world in ignorance. And you know, it's okay to acknowledge your, like in this period of reflection, acknowledge that I did not know my God. I did not know my Israelite, that I'm an Israelite, until I met my elder. When I met Elder Shadrach, then I understood. He opened up the pages of the Bible and he showed me everything, you know, and I was so happy. And since I met him and he showed me who I was back then, I have never left his side. He even tried to get rid of me. I'm going to grab that hand and I'm not letting go. And that's the end of it. But I thank you, Elder Shadrach, for all your teaching.
Yes,
and,
we definitely
and your mentorship, especially.
Exactly.
Yes.
So when we talk about leadership, what comes to your mind? Does anyone want to give us their thought of what leadership is?
Come on. I know Jennifer knows a few.
I see some great leaders in the crowd here.
Exactly.
So,
yes.
Yeah, of course.
But you got to share that subject with us.
Okay. You're an Israelite, yeah.
Okay, let's correct one thing because a lot of people think that leadership is a title. It is not a title.
It's not.
You have to demonstrate leadership. If you're not doing something, you're not leading. So you have to really think about it. And this is why I'm glad. We're not here to criticize you. We're here to enlighten you so that you could understand and appreciate what we're trying to express.
No, the thing is with leadership, well, at least for me, there's different aspects that would make you a leader. Now, don't get me wrong. You might not be able to, what's the word? To grasp all the aspects or be strong in every aspect of leadership. But for the most part, if you're able to grasp at least majority of those aspects, but not only that, you can't be a leader by yourself. So you having other leaders amongst you would help you pick up the slack wherever you might fall short. So, what are some of the aspects of leadership? We have humility, we have integrity, discipline, obedience, we have faith, we have responsibility, strength, and accountability. I'm sure I could go on and on and on and on, but these are what we would call the fundamentals of leadership.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that I would always remember about a good leader has to learn how to follow instructions. Yeah, because if you are a leader, you're going to be given instructions. How can you give if you don't know how to take? And this is very significant. A lot of people, they don't like to follow instructions. But you will see from the examples that we will give today, every one of our leaders followed a given instruction. So if you're not leading, it means you're following. But following your leader, meaning the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, or those that he put to represent him, means that you will become a good leader as well. So these are key points that you have to understand. You take orders so that you can give orders.
Exactly. So just how you said, following instructions, that falls under discipline and obedience.
Yes.
I have here, it says obedience. It is the behavior that's respectful and mindful of rules and laws. And then we have discipline, the quality of being able to behave and work in a controlled way which involves obeying particular rules or standards. So they all fall within each other, like as you go on.
Yes.
Okay, so when we talk about humility, humility is the feeling or attitude that you have, no special importance, that make you better than others. So your lack of pride.
So these are not just descriptions that Teacher Matthew has given. When we look at the examples of valor, the examples of leadership, when we read these scriptures, we want you to look in the scripture itself. I hope you have your Bible with you, because you're going to see if you find any of these examples, any of this criteria that he's describing in the scriptures.
Exactly. And not only that, I just want you to have an understanding. So, someone might say, okay, well, what is integrity?
Right.
At least you have an idea of what it is. So, in the Bible, we have many great leaders. There's a whole list. We got David, we got King Solomon, we got Moses, we got Joseph, Joshua. Okay, I might have listed a lot of men there, but we even have women that were leaders in this nation in the Bible as well, like Esther, Deborah, Huldah. These are great people, and I'm telling you, like I said, the list could go on and on and on. This Bible is full of stories, full of leaders, and even sometimes, not all leaders make all the right choices, right? But the whole point of being a leader is being able to take accountability for your actions. So,
and to your point with regards to the ladies, I remember that there were at one time a group calling themselves Hebrew Israelites. I don't know what the hell that means, what that is, but they said that women can't teach. Now we know that that's a big stinking lie, because every one of the leaders in this book has a mother.
Yeah, and they even say your mother is
your first teacher. And not just for most of us today, I said us, but I'm talking about the younger guys. The mother, normally you have 9 months in the womb, And then for some people, it could be 15 years or more.
Yeah.
So your mother is teaching you continually. The important point about that is that she sets the tone. She establishes the foundation, exactly. So out of her teaching comes people like Moses, people like Joshua, and you know what? Even Jesus.
And just how you said, the foundation, it all starts from in the womb.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a woman, she's pregnant. Okay, the child's in her belly. What does she have to do? She has to make sure she's in good health. She's fit. She's getting the rest that she needs. You know, even sometimes reading a book and doing certain things just so that eventually when the child comes, it's
not only that, man, teaching from the Bible, reading the Bible out loud, because the child in the womb will hear, and singing some of our Israelite sounds. You know, go online, Israelite music online, the best music you will find. It is very productive. It's very constructive. It will, before you know it, you'll be snapping your fingers and dancing. And you don't know. Dancing is a very highly spiritual experience. So don't be afraid to show your moves when you listen to the Israelite movement. And, you know, chances are you're dancing. I don't want to say it too loud, but I'm sure the God of Israel is dancing too.
Brother Michael, I hear you're a good dancer.
I like to think I'm good.
I've seen you dance.
Okay, I'm glad. Taking from you, Matthew, I appreciate that.
Oh, boy.
Remember that our New Year is coming up. So,
oh, yeah, don't worry.
You know, we'll be on the dance floor for a while.
I want to see you on there, too.
Okay.
I want to see the moves that you...
A little glass of wine, and who knows what I could do.
Okay. So today, I want to touch on a few scriptures.
Yes.
I'm not necessarily going to read the full stories, but what I want to take out from these scriptures that I'll be reading today, it's to cover the difference between leadership and, you know, the different aspects like we spoke about. But also, I want to show some comparison, you know, a contrast where there were great leaders, but this is what they did wrong, this is what they lacked in, and sometimes there are consequences to our actions. Doesn't matter if you're a leader or not. There will be consequences for not leading in the proper way, as I should say.
And that's an important point, Teacher Matthew, because a lot of people don't recognize that a mistake sometimes can be a learning opportunity.
Exactly.
If you don't make any mistakes, chances are you're not doing, you know, using your skill sets properly. All I'm saying is you can learn from them. So that's where the reflection comes in. Remember, we talked about that at the beginning. And while you're reading the scriptures, please look for the characteristics that you mentioned earlier, the discipline, look for the integrity.
Exactly.
But most importantly, there's one that I like, and I want you to make a note of this, faith.
Oh,
Faith. We'll come to that one later, because faith is not for everybody. Faith is only for us. Faith was a gift from the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob to his Israelite royal family. That's whom we are. So it's very significant. You can't step forward because remember, we're talking about bravery, valor.
Valor,
so chances are it is going to be, you're up against...
You're up to a lot of different obstacles.
Yeah,
really.
And these guys ain't weak. They got you. One mistake and you're done. Think about Moses at the Red Sea, for example. You know, if that water did not part, this book would be an entirely different book. But anyway.
And not only that, like faith is a really big thing because just like you and I, we don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
But it takes a leader to be like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen, but this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to try and overcome this. Let's see what happens.
Yes.
And like we said, okay, it might not be the best decision they make here and there, but okay, you know, to have accountability and be like, all right, guys, I know I said this. I thought this was going to happen, but I'm sorry, we should have done this. You know, just to be like, you know, instead of pointing the fingers, oh, it was his fault because he didn't listen, or no, like that is not great leadership. Great leadership is taking the accountabilities.
We also want you to take a look when you think about these leaders. And for me personally, these leaders like Moses and Joshua and Jacob and all the others, Abraham, they are my mentors. I treat them as my personal mentors. So in other words, I'm not just reading the scripture because it's in the Bible. I read because I want to learn. And the reason I want to learn is because I want to serve the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob at a level that would make him smile. I don't just want to be ordinary. And that is the difference. So if I'm here and I'm given instructions from Elder Randall or Elder Shadrach or Elder Freddie or anyone in the priesthood, then I am happy to fulfill that responsibility. Not only that, I want to be here every time these doors are open.
Keyword, responsibility.
Yeah, because you don't know what is going to happen when it's going to happen. Exactly. But I'd like to be a part of it. What if the sky had opened and something happened and I'm not here? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So the point is trust, faith, and that brings to mind another point, covenant. We all have a covenant that we have to maintain, and we cannot make excuses about that, because covenant means circumcision, and circumcision of the heart is the greatest. But that's something that we'll get into later. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm not sure about you guys, but like I said, we have different great leaders in the Bible, and one that I want to talk about in particular is I want to talk about Joshua. Now, I'm not reading the whole story of Joshua. We could get into it. We'll be here all day. But like I said, I want to take the key fundamentals and the traits that Joshua has, and I want to just talk about it and just allow us to see the difference. And then I also want you to kind of reflect and be like, okay, remember the times where you felt like you were courageous, or where you felt like you were a leader, or where you felt like you had faith and you could carry on, or where you felt that you had accountability and responsibilities. Okay, so if you'd like, we could go to Joshua chapter 1. And I'm going to read from the first verse. Yeah?
Go ahead.
Now, after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord, it came to pass that the Lord spake unto Joshua, the son of Nun, Moses' minister, saying, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now, therefore, arise, go over this Jordan, thou and all this people, unto the land which I do give to them, even to the children of Israel. So, before I even move forward further, Joshua's role in all this already, it's like he was recognized already as a leader. Mm-hmm. The whole point is like he was told right off the bat, okay, you're next. Right? And it's not like you can't just pick anyone to be a leader. You have to show those traits already.
Exactly.
So before this even chapter even came, Joshua probably was showing traits of leadership. And he was already probably talked about in the background, okay, we're going to bring him in and this and that. But yeah, let me keep going. Mm-hmm. Every place that sole of your foot shall tread upon, that have I given unto you, as I said unto Moses, from the wilderness and this Lebanon, even unto the great river, the river Euphrates, all the land of the Hittites, and unto the great sea towards the going down of the sun, shall be your coast. Therefore shall not any man be able to stand before thee all the days of thy life, as I was with Moses.
Pause for a second. Are you seeing the challenge that is before Joshua? Are you seeing the goal? The God of Israel is giving him the instructions. He is saying, you have control over all this property, over all this land. Now, saying it is one thing, but now you've got to step up, right?
Yep,
and make sure that you take the necessary steps to accomplish that task.
So would you say that he's been given responsibility?
Big time responsibility.
Right? So
yes.
the way I see it, you being given a responsibility already tells someone that they have faith in you to complete certain tasks.
And it also shows that you have faith in
yourself.
Not only yourself, but also in the God of Israel.
Exactly.
To give you the trust and the confidence to go forward and do what you have to do. Because this is not something that you could just snap your finger and make it happen.
Oh, no.
And I want you to think of something else too. Just pause for a second. Think about the other side, because sometimes you're not going to quite get what is written in this book. You're not going to get everything. But look at the other side, for example. Look at ancient Egypt, the most powerful nation on the planet.
Oh.
How did they get to be where they were? Because they served their God with diligence. Look at today, we have Christianity. They rule in the north, they rule the south, the east, and the west.
They're
Right.
all over the place.
Why? How? They serve their God. And their God is not the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yeah, they might call on the name of Jesus, but that's a demon that they've named Jesus, and I can prove that. Okay? That's one of the fallen hellboys. But my point is, regardless of how it happens, there is the discipline. There is the faith in their God. So we should show to our God the same thing. You cannot expect that you're going to be here and then snap your finger and everything you want occurs. And if it doesn't, you pack up and leave. It doesn't work like that.
It does not work like that.
You have to endure unto the end. Do you know when is the end? Anybody knows? Very funny. Yeah, but he doesn't say when tomorrow is. I was looking for a date. Very good. So let us be diligent, let us be faithful, and let us have that trust factor. The way in which we demonstrate this is to share it amongst each other first. Because if I can't get along with you, how am I going to get along with whom I cannot see? Unless you're a hypocrite.
That's why we got to work together.
We have to work together.
We have to work together.
Yeah, it's a family. You're my sisters, you're my brothers. Let's work together.
And it's funny you say that because, you know, sometimes you might get put up to work for someone that you don't really like.
Okay.
Okay, you could be on a basketball team and you don't like one of your teammates, but a good leader knows how to work with them because the end goal is what? To win the game.
Okay, but pause for a second. If I don't like you, there's got to be a reason behind it.
Oh, yeah, I mean.
So that gives them, that's what you call mediation, where we come together and we try to understand, is it, you don't like my hairstyle?
That's what a good leader does.
Is it my hairstyle that throws you off? You know, I could fix this.
Yeah, but that's
what I would do to fix it is I will get his to look like mine. Then we'd be the same. Okay, he's the younger version, I'm the older version. But we still look alike. You see, so we have removed that negative factor.
Yeah,
now we have
exactly.
something in common. And that's the key, to find as many things in common as possible. And not necessarily exact, because you're going to have skill sets that I don't have. But if you use your skill set for the same purpose, exactly, then we can make this work. That's what we're talking about here. That's family. Yeah.
100%.
So go ahead, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I get carried away sometimes.
We're gonna continue. Don't worry. We'll talk some more.
Yes.
Okay.
Fix my
I'm
hair.
gonna reread verse 5 and carry on. There shall not any man be able to stand before thee all the days of thy life, as I was with Moses. So I will be with thee. I will not fail thee nor forsake thee. So again, God of Israel is saying, okay, you know, this is what I'll do for you. I will not fail you. I will not forsake thee. So after hearing this, you shouldn't be scared. Okay, you know, my father said he's going to hold my hand. He's going to guide me through it. Why am I going to be scared? You know, this is where the faith comes in.
Yes, trust.
Be strong and of good courage. Let me say that again. Be strong and of good courage. For unto this people shalt thou divide for an inheritance the land which I swear unto their fathers to give them. Only be thou strong and very courageous, that thou mayest observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded thee. Turn not from it to the right hand or to the left, that thou mayest prosper whithersoever thou goest. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success. Have not I commanded thee? Be strong and of a good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee whithersoever thou goest.
Very, very powerful. The question then is, will Joshua have faith in those words that were spoken by the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob? Remember, we did not just pull him out from, I don't know, somewhere and put him there. He was there and witnessed with Moses when the waters parted at the Red Sea. He was there with Moses when they fought the Amalekites, and they defeated the Amalekites. And there are many other examples that he witnessed. So he has that background of confidence. Now he has to utilize that. See, this is why how do I put this? We are here, we are learning, we're trying to grow as a family, but we're going on the path of truth, the path where very few people will find. So a lot of people might think, right, because it's just 10 or 12 of us, that this is not the right thing. You know, I like that. I like the small numbers. Right? Why?
You know, sometimes less is more.
Less is much more, depending on who the less is. So in this case, the less is Israel, right?
Exactly.
And the path where there's only a dozen of us is because we are light years ahead of the others, number one. Number two, everyone is, I think last week they talked about many are called and few are chosen.
Yeah.
So we are the chosen remnant. This is very significant. It makes me feel so good because I'm not out there in the world. I'm in the world, but not of the world. And therein lies the difference. So we have to use these talents to our advantage. We are not average. But here's the most important point. The leaders, let me put it to you in a different way. How many prime ministers there are in Canada? One. How many presidents there are in the United States? One. And we can name all the countries. There's only one leadership. There's one leader, and then he has a council. They call it, what do they call it? A parliament, whatever. Yeah.
Whatever,
So my point is, how many teachers are there? There's usually one teacher for 40 students. You see my point here? So if you are a member of this Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries, you are indeed a privileged class. Can I repeat that? You are a privileged class in this Israelite nation. Do not take that for granted. You are extraordinarily special. Don't let anyone, this week a guy came to me and he said to me, would you like to become a Christian? I said, go to hell. Go study your history. I said, those are the ones that enslaved us for 400 years. You don't know your history? You're so ignorant about yourself, and you're trying to sell that stupidity to others? And I just kept walking.
You know, Elder Michael, one thing I have to say about you, your encounters are something else. Elder Michael has all the stories. I
don't know why they pick on me.
You need to have a camera just following you.
I don't know why people pick on me. I don't have a cross.
All these stories.
I've never owned a cross.
It's the glow that comes from your head.
Is that what it is?
There's something about him. There's something about him.
Well, that's what the scripture said. Let your light shine, ladies and gentlemen. And I let my light shine. I can't help that. Okay?
Something about I don't know. I gotta get a camera to just follow you. Whenever you leave the house, we're gonna just monitor you and just see
fine.
all these
You'll be surprised.
interactions. I'm surprised by some of the stories. I'm just like, no way that happened. Just looking at you and saying, okay.
You know, they try to give me flyers all the time.
Oh,
I
God.
said, no, thank you. I'm respectful. I said, but I'll take $20 instead. And they say, no, I don't have $20.
You have to do what they do.
And I say, okay, make it 50 then. And he dies laughing. Of course, I keep walking.
Oh, gosh.
But these are the promises from the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob to Joshua. That's what Teacher Matthew just read.
Yes.
And we have a covenant with God, a covenant with him. So think about this. He's not going to say something that he cannot do, number one. And then he recognizes that he has a covenant with you, so he's not going to mislead you, because it will go against the terms of the contract, the terms of the agreement. So keep in mind that a covenant is a mutual agreement between two parties.
Yes.
So you have to keep your word. The God of Israel also keeps his word. And he doesn't have to, but he does.
And not only that, we also can see in this chapter, God of Israel is telling him, I'm going to give you this job.
Yeah.
But what must you do? You must be strong and courageous. It says very courageous.
Yes.
Here, right? And like our topic is the man of valor.
Right.
Right? So he must be a man of valor. And you know, when I hear that word valor, I think of a warrior. Like,
Yes.
okay, you know, like men of valor, like, you know, strong.
But
going out to
let me pause you for a second.
Okay.
Do you know what the strongest weapon is? Anybody knows? The most powerful weapon.
The mind.
The words that are spoken.
Your mouth.
The words that are spoken. You see, that's the most powerful. Because a lot of people think that by getting on a street corner and calling people names because they don't look like you, that you're pushing yourself up. But you're putting yourself further down to hell. But you don't know that because of your level of ignorance.
Yeah,
but
that's
Joshua
very haughty.
is going to show you by example. Just like the way Moses did. They call on the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that is where their strength came from. We have to do the same thing. And we have to do it collectively as one family. Okay? And therein we see, so I'm sorry, but go ahead. That's where the strength comes, not from the weapons.
Okay, so like I said, I'm not going to talk about the whole story of Joshua, but I could tell you, Joshua, they've been through some battles. They've done a lot, right? Especially with Israel. And this is why I believe Joshua was chosen for this job. But the first segment of that, I wanted to talk about, okay, the strength and the courage that he must have to fulfill his leadership role. Now,
But if you were a Joshua, wouldn't you be scared?
I mean, I would be scared. I would be scared because it's like, oh, like I've been given this huge task to fulfill. But at the same time, with the faith, and not only that, just knowing that, okay, the God of Israel is telling me, don't worry, I'm going to be there with you. Just be strong and courageous. Go through with it. I got you. I just want you to do this and carry it out. Then it'll give me, like, you know, I'll get a little bit more comfortable, of course.
But when he says be strong and courageous, I get the impression that the enemy that is coming at you, they're going to be vicious.
100%.
I mean, you
100%.
make a mistake and you are done.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
100%.
So, to your point, Joshua has to be, everything has to be on point. He has to be well aligned with the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You cannot succeed if your spirit is tilted.
Exactly.
It's got to be straight. You got to be firm.
You can't do it by yourself.
And just because things did not go in your favor doesn't mean that you say, well, you know what, this ain't working. That's when you get stronger. That's where your trust and faith comes.
In a way, it's like teamwork, right?
Yeah.
You got to work together. So you got your brethren, you got your family with you, you got the God of Israel with you. Yeah, you're the leader, but these people are going to help you build you up. They're going to make you feel stronger. They're making you feel better. You're going to feel more courageous because they're looking and depending on you. And it's like, okay, if these people are dependent, I can't fail these people.
So instead of focusing on the challenge that is before you, take a deep breath and say, you know what? Let me think about my baptism. Let me reflect on my baptism. Let me reflect on that flag that I saw fluttering when I came out of the water. Wow, I've never seen that flag before. Let me remember the oath that I took to serve this God. Let me think about the words, the pledge that we say. These are the things that we need to focus on, because from that process, we get our strength. Now we can take on anyone. Bring me not just one Egyptian, bring me 10 pharaohs and their army, and I will destroy them.
Oh, boy.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so I'm going to read, I'm going to go to Joshua chapter 5.
Okay.
And I want us to read and just kind of understand what we're reading here. And it came to pass, when all the kings of the Amorites, which were on the side of Jordan westward, and all the kings of the Canaanites, which were by the sea, heard that the Lord had dried up the waters of Jordan from before the children of Israel, until we were passed over, and that their heart melted, neither was there spirit in them any more, because of the children of Israel.
But I think we should go back and read that crossing. I think because I think that says a lot. And let's see, where do we? Let's go back and read a little bit about that, because is it chapter 4?
Chapter 3.
Where should we begin? We can start from chapter 4, verse 1.
Chapter 3.
No, 4.
For the crossing.
For the crossing, yeah.
Crossing the river Jordan.
Jordan, yeah.
Yeah. Chapter 3.
Chapter 3, okay.
Yeah.
Let's start at 3. You know, the reason why is because
Good for context.
Yes, it puts everything in context. It shows what had to be done. In other words, the instructions that were given and the fact that they followed the instructions. And this is where we come in, because we don't like to follow instructions. We like to do our own thing. And then when results change and we're at the bottom instead of the top, we blame everyone except ourselves.
There's no accountability.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love to see who are the Khazars. They are the best people on the planet when it comes to working together as a family. The best people. We can learn a lot from them, right? They have $1, it circulates amongst them 10 times.
Well, even the Indians are like that.
Yes,
too.
I was going to get to the Sikhs.
Chinese.
The Sikhs, the Chinese, everyone except the children of Jacob. So why can't we not change that? Why do we always have to have the disagreement? Everything is not going to go. Don't you think the other people have mistakes and have problems too? Yes.
Yeah, of course.
They have 10 times more. Yeah. But they don't say, I'm out. They don't. They put their $10 in, and you put your 10, I put my 10, and before you know it, you have $1 million.
Would you say we're spoiled in a sense where it's like we don't think that we need to work with each other? Like,
you know, I don't have the answer, but I'll tell you a few of the challenges. Number one, we are not the only one. I say this a lot, and I'll say it again. Elder Shadrach was not the first to know that the children of slavery are indeed the children of Israel. Mm-hmm. Elder Shadrach was the first to do something constructive about it. And because he did something constructive, the enemy is saying we got to take them down. We've got to destroy them. We cannot allow them to succeed because they defeated all the other nations that were 10 times more powerful than they were. How did they do that? And they did not fire any weapons.
they didn't lift a finger.
So why is it then that we are going to let these people get together and destroy us and take over the world? No, we can't have that. So they come against us. You don't know it, but they're out there. They're watching you. They got eyes on you. You might think you're ordinary. You're not ordinary. And then the God of Israel said, I want you to be my children. Why didn't he pick Christianity? Ezekiel is here. 10 billion of them, Ezekiel?
Well, you said last week there's like 10 billion.
There's 10 billion of them, right? Whatever.
1.4 billion. Okay, whatever.
There's enough.
A lot of them.
There's enough to do the job. There's only 12 of us.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm making. But you see, it is not about quantity. It's about quality. And there's only one spirit of truth. All the others, there's many spirits. The fallen head boys, 33% that came down. But they're in hell. And Lucy, he is clever. Lucy is very, very clever. He gets what he wants. Why? Because he doesn't come to the front door. He looks at you, oh, Matthew, you're so handsome today. Love your hair. He gives you all those pleasantries, right? But the God of Israel gives you straight up. You either do it right or you're not in. Done. We don't have any commentary that's going to make you feel good.
Because it's, the God of Israel, he's our Father.
Yes.
Right? So your parents would tell you the hard truth. But someone else would be like, no, you don't.
They lie to you.
Like, they're wrong.
Yeah.
But your parents always know what's best for you.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. You know, it might not sound pleasant. Your parent might say, oh, you shouldn't do this because of that. I mean, they're telling you for a reason, of course. But, now the time you want to listen, which I think is not.
Yeah, so if you are going to be between 14 and 28, you're going to face challenges, my friend. Especially if you're a child of slavery. So this is when you have to tighten it up. This is when you have to be obedient. This is when you have to be diligent. This is when you have to be respectful.
Obedience is
because
key.
they're coming after you. And they don't come after you to beat you up. There's a cute little girl out there, if you're a guy, waiting for you. And she's going to mess you up from head to toe.
Oh, boy. Speaking from experience? What's going on, man?
They waited outside for you.
Oh, gosh.
They're waiting for you. So,
oh, gosh. Other Michael, you're something else. Man.
Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so before I get to Joshua chapter 5, I want to give us some context. So if we could turn to chapter 3, and I'll start from the first verse.
Okay.
And Joshua rose early in the morning, and they removed from Shittim, and came to Jordan, and all the children of Israel, and lodged there before they passed over. And it came to pass after 3 days that the officers went through the host, and they commanded the people, saying, when you see the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, and the priests and the Levites bearing it, then ye shall remove from your place and go after it.
Isn't that Ark of the Covenant in Ethiopia?
So that's what they told you?
This is what the movies are all about. But this is the point I'm making. You see how they lie to you? But they do it so convincingly, you believe it. Now, not us here. But there's so much, I think Elder Ander was saying that you have to be perfect in the movie. But when you go through, there's dead people on the right, dead people on the left, and remnants of all filthiness. So, it doesn't make any sense. But the only way that you could come to that awareness and that understanding is to be a member of this Israelite nation, Worldwide Ministries, so that you could discern the truth from the lie. So we're not against them saying what they say. All we know is not for us. It's as simple as that. So the Ark of the Covenant, he says, and it is what it is. The covenant is within the Ark. Yeah. So if you haven't signed the covenant with the blood of your foreskin, if you haven't signed your heart, let's put it that way, covenant with the heart, then it doesn't have any impact on you. It means that they're lying to you, when they tell you about these movies. Mm-hmm. So remember that when they talk about the Ark of the Covenant, they're talking about our culture and our history, and they cannot get it right. We are the only ones that are allowed to teach from that perspective. Simple. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, verse 4. Yet there shall be a space between you and it, about 2,000 cubits by measure. Come not near unto it, that ye may know the way by which ye must go, for ye have not passed this way heretofore.
See that right there? How many people would want to adhere to that instruction? Because the Ark of the Covenant is so special. And so, you feel like you're doing something favorable. Remember I don't know if you're going to read that part. I think.
But it's very courageous, though. To be like, okay, yeah, I want to do this. I want to take this responsibility.
Yeah, but the point is, here's where you have to follow the instructions.
Exactly.
Because failure to follow could be
great
your end.
consequences.
Yes.
consequence that you probably won't be able to come back from at times.
You're
right?
deaf.
Okay, verse 5. And Joshua said unto the people, Sanctify yourself, for tomorrow the Lord will do wonders among you. And Joshua spake unto the priests, saying, Take up the ark of the covenant, and pass over before the people. And they took up the ark of the covenant, and went before the people. And the Lord said unto Joshua, This day will I begin to magnify thee in the sight of all Israel, that they may know that I was with Moses, so I will be with thee.
So you see the first instruction, the sanctification.
Yes.
That's cleansing yourself. Making sure that you're spiritually prepared as well as physically prepared.
Mentally, physically,
Exactly.
spiritually. You know, you got to tune in.
Yeah. And the covenant is the foundation, right? Just because it's in the ark doesn't mean that it has lost its value. The covenant is with you and me. It's with us,
Exactly.
right? We have signed the covenant with our blood, and it makes a difference. We have to always remember that, because therein is the value that we would exhibit on a day-to-day basis in whatever we do.
Okay, verse 8. And thou shalt command the priests that bear the ark of the covenant, saying, When ye are come to the brink of the water of Jordan, ye shall stand still in Jordan. And Joshua said unto the children of Israel, Come hither, and hear the words of the Lord your God. And Joshua said, Hereby ye shall know that the living God is among you, and that he will without fail drive out from before you the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Hivites, and the Perizzites, and the Gergesites, and the Amorites, and the Jebusites.
And as Ezekiel says, and the
All
parasites.
the parasites.
He's added an extra tribe, the biggest.
Behold, the ark of the covenant of the Lord of all the earth passes over before you into Jordan. Now therefore take you 12 men out of the tribes of Israel, out of every tribe a man. And it shall come to pass, as soon as the soles of the feet of the priests that bear the ark of the Lord of all the earth, shall rest in the waters of Jordan, that the waters of Jordan shall be cut off from the waters that come down from above, and they shall stand upon an heap.
Wow. See, this is what I like. Now, are you noticing anything here? Does anybody see the secret? Anyone see the secret at all? Okay. He is telling you what's going to happen. But the secret is where, under what circumstances. Okay? I don't want to say this, but if you ever notice that the power of the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob is magnified by pure living water? Mm-hmm. Have you noticed that?
Very important.
Yes.
Highly spiritual.
So here's what I want you to do. Think about your baptism. Think about it. You see, there are many Joshuas in here as well. That's what I'm seeing. And, there's Hadassah, which is, Queen Esther. You're all in here. But it's just a matter of time for you to appreciate whom you're serving, whose you are, and start to take the steps that they took. What Joshua did, what Queen Esther did, to not for your glorification, but for the glorification of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And for the benefit of all your brethren. That's the way you have to think. If you think, I can do this. I got this mode. It's all right. You can that's
very boastful.
Yeah, it's not about you.
It's haughty. It's like it's.
Yeah, you want to show the world that we serve the only true and living God. And we can conquer your territory if we had to. Well, let's put it this way. We could take our land back if we wanted to. Let's put it that way, right? And we don't even have to use any weapons. You've got nuclear weapons and bullets and bombs. We don't need none of that stuff.
They'll do it for us.
No, we just done. Yeah. They're
Oh,
all
the mic go.
dead. But anyway, that's a different chapter. Let's move on. I'll bring that one next time.
Verse 14. And it came to pass, when the people removed from their tents to pass over Jordan, and the priests bearing the ark of the covenant before the people, and as they that bear the ark came unto Jordan, and the feet of the priests that bear the ark dipped in the brim of the water, for Jordan overfloweth all his banks on all time of harvest. That the waters which came down from above stood and rose up upon a heap very far from the city Adam, and that is beside Zertan.
Pause for another. Did you guys see that other secret right there? Am I the only one seeing this? It says in verse 15, let's read it together again. And as they that bear the ark were come unto Jordan, and the feet of the priests that bear the ark were dipped in the brim of the water, for Jordan overflowed all
His banks.
his. You see the secret? His. We're talking about water here, a river. Why would they use the pronoun his? You see my point? You see, the same thing occurred at the Red Sea. And I'm always intrigued by that. Now, some people might say, well, it's a bad spelling, or they made a mistake grammatically. But I'm thinking differently here. I'm thinking that we're looking at the spirit of water. That's why his is written. And that his is going to be, well, that's the invention, that's the creation of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
That's a really good observation.
Yeah. So he is going to command that water to stand still because of what Joshua has done. The spirit of the water. You see, there is spirit that is flesh, like you and me. There's spirit that is fire. There's spirit that is water. There's spirit that is air. Like men. But they're not flesh. You see my point? So everything that is, all the men are not necessarily flesh and bone. That's all I'm saying. I want you to think about it. And this is why when you're thinking about this, you have to think about your covenant. You have to think about your baptism. You're coming out of the water. You're coming into a new territory, into a new service.
Everything starts off with water, if you really think about it, everything.
That's my point. It's a new birth. Right? And when you were born, what did the mother say before you were given birth? Help me out, somebody here. The waters broke. So a new way of thinking is what we are looking forward to. That's the point. You cannot think like the old you who was all about you. That doesn't count anymore. If you're not serving the God of Israel and serving your brethren accordingly, then you're not part of the family. Think about it. But maybe I'll stop telling you any more secrets. Go ahead, teacher Matthew.
All the secrets.
Give me all the secrets here.
Okay, I'm going to reread verse 16. That the waters which came down from above stood and rose up upon a heap very far from the city Adam, that is beside Zertan. And those that came down towards the sea of the plain, even the salt sea, failed and were cut off. And the people passed over right against Jericho. And the priests that bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood firm on dry ground in the midst of Jordan. And all the Israelites passed over on dry ground until all the people were passed clean over Jordan.
Sounds familiar?
Yep. Sounds
Yes.
like. Yeah.
So remember these points. The power of the God of Israel glorified by water, pure living water. He has control over the spirit of water the same way he has control over the spirit of flesh and bone. And the water, keep in mind, if you go back, and I think it's mentioned later on, but I'm not sure, but Jordan at that time of the year was at its highest level.
Yeah.
You understand this? The water was flowing high.
Yeah,
Normally, it's like just a few Inches.
Here, for Jordan overfloweth all his banks and all the time of harvest.
Exactly.
So around this time it was.
Yeah, it was much higher. You had like 12 feet of water. I'm just saying, at that time, as opposed to 12 inches.
Exactly.
So, the fact that the priests bearing the Ark of the Covenant can stop that water tells you, and that the water parted as in the Red Sea, tells you, gives you a significant reason to reflect on your baptism and understand the purpose of why you are here, why you are chosen. You know, everyone has a role. Some of us are teachers. Some of us are here to blow horns. Some of us are here to carry a load. Whatever it is, the point is everyone is equal in that regard. I'm not better than you. When your time comes and you got to blow that horn, you know, I don't know if we'll get to this, because when the priests blew the horns, and then they shouted the seventh time, and I don't know what they shouted. What do you think they shouted?
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is
That's
one.
what I thought. And the walls came down. All I'm saying is that there's great significance into when we're dealing with matters pertaining to our Israelite culture. Please, please, please do not take these issues lightly. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah, so I wanted to just add a point. You guys are talking about water. So, you know, when we went up to Virginia, and it was to remember the 400, all right? We went up to acknowledge the 400 years in Virginia, and when Elder did his presentation, that speech that he made, and we were round about water, right by the water.
Yes.
And as a family, we were together by the water. And when we left from there was a momentum that we took with us, because we continued with the Remember the 400, right? The children grew up, and they're still, even Teacher Matthew, right? Representing Remember the 400, not just here in Toronto, but also throughout the other branches of the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. So where I'm going with that is because we're talking about bodies of water, we're talking about those forefathers that are in the book that we're from.
Yes.
And we're talking about water, you're talking about the significance of water. So I think we should also keep in mind that whatever we're doing in the future, or whatever things are coming around with alignment, that we shouldn't take water for granted, right? So I just wanted
it's a good point.
Just wanted to add that.
I just remembered, even in Virginia, with Elder Freddie, when we were waiting for the lightning and the thunder to come so that we could close the event. And somehow it didn't come. Someone had disconnected, so we couldn't really trigger the lightning from the organs. But, and this is something that blew me away, Elder Tam was there as well, it triggered real lightning, real thunder from above, from the heavens. Real thunder the God of Israel sent on that day in Jamestown, Virginia, a few years ago. And we were all flattered. I'm glad that Elder Freddie was there to lead us in the closing segments of it. And it was amazing because it thundered as if the person who was playing the organ normally would have made that sound. But it didn't, because it wasn't connected.
You got the real deal.
But we got the real thunder from above, from the heavens.
Deal.
I'm saying that because he brought up the 400, you remember the 400 event, but also thunder and lightning and rain, water, go together. Mm-hmm. So since we're talking about water, I thought, wow, what an excellent opportunity to bring that up. But I'll never forget that event in Jamestown, Virginia. Mm-hmm. And that was just, a few years ago.
Yes.
Yeah. So think about the significance. As I said, this is not just reading the scriptures without understanding what you're reading. You have a role to play here because you have to walk the same steps that the priests here, Joshua and the priests are walking. And follow the same instructions that the God of Israel has given to Joshua, the same instructions he gave to Moses. Remember, We are a royal priesthood.
We're the priesthood.
We are not just a congregation of Israelites. We are the royal priesthood.
To the world.
To the entire world. There's not another priesthood like this anywhere else on this planet. So I don't want you to take me at my word. I want you to investigate what I'm telling you for yourself.
It's all in here.
I know it's in here.
It's all in here.
But you have to see it within you. If you can't see that, then you're not fulfilling the responsibility and obligation of being a chosen Israelite remnant. Simple as that. So it is, I want you to think. That's the key here. We all have a responsibility and obligation. Sometimes you might think it's really too small, it's not worthy. Even if you just have to bring water, it's okay. Without that water filling that person, whoever you're giving it to, that's significant. You may not be aware of the significance at that time, but then when the person tells you the dream that they had or the vision they had, then you will see, had it not been for the water, it would not have happened. But anyway, I don't want to get into a lesson on water. I get carried away sometimes because these things are so... You see, where I want you to be, because I'm inspired by you. Just as we read and we get these things, it's not that I know what I'm talking about. I see it on your faces, and I talk.
Like I said, there's a bunch of great leaders here in this.
A lot of leaders. Right, Joel? Good. The best. And he's a handsome guy, too, so that helps. Now I know you were lying.
Oh, good.
Go ahead.
Okay, so now that we've read chapter 3, and that's just to give us a context when I'm reading chapter 5 so that we're not all confused. I know sometimes, we're not able to read the full stories and we might get lost and everything, but sometimes it's good to go to the previous chapter to kind of get the context or get the idea of what's going on in the chapter that I'm going to read now.
And that sets the tone, like you say. And remember, what happened here is similar to what happened at the Red Sea.
Yes.
Moses. Yes. This was baptism for those Israelites that remained, that never got baptized. Yeah. That's how they got baptized in the River Jordan. The Spirit was there. The water stopped, and so on and so forth. You have to understand this from what it's worth. And we can get into it later. But the point that is significant is without the covenant, you cannot move forward without that covenant. And the covenant requires baptism.
Exactly.
Simple.
Okay. We'll go to Joshua chapter 5. And it came to pass, when all the kings of the Amorites, which were on the side of Jordan, westward, and all the kings of the Canaanites, which were by the sea, heard that the Lord had dried up the waters of Jordan from before the children of Israel, until we were passed over, that their heart melted, neither was there spirit in them anymore, because of the children of Israel.
You see that? See, this is why the God of Israel said to Joshua, be confident, be strong. I got you. You see? And now those enemies.
Very courageous.
Yeah, the 7 tribes, right? Plus the parasites. Now, all of them, they're fearful now. Like, who are these people?
Yeah.
How do you do this? Because why? They remembered what took place at the Red Sea with Moses. And that was against the most powerful nation on the planet at the time. So if they figured that you destroyed Egypt, ancient Egypt, they don't stand a chance.
Yep.
Because these are the same people, serving the same God. They got you.
And just like in the first chapter that I read,
yes,
the God of Israel says, I will be with thee, I will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. So all while this is happening, I'm sure Joshua has this in his head. He's like, okay, these are my instructions. Let me just do what I got to do. Put it in the hands of the God of Israel.
Again, covenant.
Exactly.
Covenant. You do your part, he will do his part. If you refuse to do yours, don't expect that he's going to deliver. That's not the agreement that we had. If you violate the terms of the agreement, don't expect a positive response. So let's work together in harmony. And the point I'm making here is we have to work as a family. If you're not part of the family, if you're not upholding your role, then don't expect any favors from me, because I will be your worst nightmare. Furthermore, the God of Israel.
Oh gosh, Brother Michael. Okay, verse 2. At that time, the Lord said unto Joshua, make these sharp knives, and circumcise again the children of Israel the second time.
Now, hold a second. Now, when he says again the second time, it doesn't mean that if you are circumcised the first time, that you're going to do it again. There's not much room left there anyway, right? You cut off half already, there's nothing left. The point is those that did not get circumcised the first time when they did it, now they're doing it. You see, that's the point.
There's going to be new followers.
Yeah.
We're
But
growing.
people think the round thing sometimes. So I just clear that up. Don't worry. We got you, Joel. You don't have to get it the second time.
I think I'm okay.
I know you're okay. He's getting scared for a moment, so I had to clarify that.
Verse 3. And Joshua made him sharp knives and circumcised the children of Israel at the hill of the foreskins. And this is the cause why Joshua did circumcise all the people that came out of Egypt that were males, even all the men of war, died in the wilderness by the way, after they came out of Egypt. Now all the people that came out were circumcised, but all the people that were born in the wilderness by the way, as they came forth out of Egypt, them they had not circumcised.
Right.
So like you said.
Yeah.
For the children of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness, till all the people that were men of war, which came out of Egypt, were consumed, because they obeyed not the voice of the Lord, unto whom the Lord sware that he would not shew them the land, which the Lord sware unto their fathers, that he would give us a land that floweth with milk and honey.
Yes. There's a question.
Okay,
You
we
got
have
a
a
comment?
question over here. Comment? Officer Doreen?
Peace. I didn't want to glaze over this. It's just in verse 5. Now all the people that came out were circumcised, but all the people that were born in the wilderness by the way, as they came forth out of Egypt, them they had not circumcised. And we know that they were in the wilderness for about 40 years.
Yeah, it says here.
Oh my goodness. There is something sad about that. Because we know that what our culture is. When our children are born, they're offered up, the boys are circumcised, not the girls. All of our children are offered up, but only the boys are circumcised on the 8th day. And to hear 40 years later that they were not all that time in the wilderness.
Very sad.
And their parents, it's just one generation. They came out, they walked on the dry land of the Red Sea, the plagues of Egypt, and all the miracles, this, that, and the third. And that generation, just one generation removed, the culture was not kept. And it's so sad because it's that easy to let the culture slip away. Easy.
It's a very important point you're making, and thank you for bringing that up. Because
now, right?
yeah, today is even in a worse situation. But remember one of the first things that they did when they came out. Remember that? What was it?
The golden calf.
They built a golden calf, and they worshiped the golden calf. So you see why the God of Israel is saying there's certain things you do, there's certain things you don't do. Because we're so highly spiritual, it means that could be very infectious. So that spirit now could proliferate throughout the community. If we did not serve that golden calf, which is, by the way, the god of Egypt, things would have been different. If we had showed respect and appreciation for what our father did at the Red Sea, things would have been much different. And don't get me wrong, we had a great time in the wilderness. But we would have gone straight into the land as opposed to be hanging out there, waiting and learning and restoring things. So we went through that 40 years because all those people that were contaminated, let's put it that way, had to be eliminated. And we got rid of them. Because now we're going into the promised land, we don't want to take this trash with us.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? And we have to think like that. There's a penalty when we walk contrary to the agreement and the oath that we have taken. Remember, we say the pledge, we make these oaths at baptism before the altar or wherever, but the point is we have to keep them if we speak them.
I'm thinking so much more.
Yes.
Because we know how important the circumcision is to our men.
Yes.
And that's where the blood is, the foreskin, the agreement, everything. And you said we had to leave that there. We don't want to take the trash, right? They contaminate the rest.
Right.
And it just the enemy can sometimes be within.
That's right.
We're always looking out. The world will deceive us. The world will do this to us. The world will destroy us. Sometimes that destruction comes from within. So the enemy, and so much to the point where the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob was like, that generation, they're not even going to see the promised
Has
land.
to go. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Because they make the God of Israel look bad. And I mean, that's a terrible thing to say, but it's true because he has done so much. We were talking this morning about his creation, and I whispered to Officer Doreen, I said, sometimes I sit and I think, and I say, how did he know? How did he know how to do all of this? And it's not that he did all of it in the sense that in terms of the magnitude, which is there, but it is so perfect because it works in total harmony. And that's the part that I can't fathom. Like to do put a sun up and a moon, and then to create man, and you see how beautiful Officer Doreen is. Like that took probably 10,000 years just to make her as to the woman that she is today. And we haven't seen all of it. That's just the entree.
There's many more.
Yes. And the entree, and then the children that she will give us. I mean, like, it's amazing.
Exactly.
So my point is, he deserves the praise and the glorification.
Yeah. After everything that he's done.
I can't say enough.
And it's like, what surprises me more is the fact that they witnessed all this
Yes.
stuff. Like, they seen it with their own eyes.
Exactly.
And then to go back and then say, yeah, this calf is the calf that brought you out the land of Egypt. Like, what?
Disgusting.
Like, where'd you get that from? You saw what happened. And it's like, now you're going to praise the calf? Okay.
And it's not, I mean, we might look at it as just a calf, but that's a symbol of their God.
Yeah.
A symbol of their God. Remember, he is pictured as a bull. And you see, I could talk about this for years. There's a bull, the European Union. They have a bull with a lady sitting on the bull. Have you seen that picture? My point is, there's a story, an allegory behind that. I'm not going to get into it now. But that's the same bull that came out of Egypt. Because you know where it came from? It came all the way from Babylon. And according to the legend, it swam all the way to Greece. Which is, of course, a big stinking lie. But they believe that. And what makes it significant is that the woman that sat on that bull, you know what her name was? Europa. Europe. You see my point? So, I mean, it's just, this is what I'm saying. That guy is amazing how he will trick you into doing what he wants you to do, even though you know that he is evil. He will make you do it because he doesn't come at the front door. He comes through the back. That's why the scripture said he's a snake. He crawls in his belly in the darkness and finds a way into your life.
When you least expect it.
When you least expect it, and then he turns things around. And when you find out, it's too late. Mm-hmm. And like Officer Doreen said, there's always the enemy within. How does the enemy get in? You have to let him in. I like to use the issue about the vampire. When the vampire knocks on your door and you open the door, he will not cross the threshold unless you say, you can come in. You have to bring that demon in. And this is why we have to be careful what we do, what we say. We have to show respect and admiration for what it is that we do and who we serve. For each other. Okay? It is not about you. It is about the glorification of our Father and how we serve each other. And that's all there is to it. If you put yourself first, you will fail.
Exactly.
You put the God of Israel, and you then put yourself second. How's that? And then work with that collectively.
Okay, I'm going to continue from verse 7. And their children whom he raised up in their stead, them Joshua circumcised, for they were uncircumcised because they had not circumcised them by the way. And it came to pass, when they had done circumcising all the people, that they abode in their place in the camp till they were whole. And the Lord said unto Joshua, This day have I rolled away the reproach of Egypt from you. Wherefore the name of the place is called Gilgad, unto this day. And the children of Israel encamped in Gilgad, and kept the Passover on the 14th day of the month at even in the plains of Jericho. And they did eat of the old corn of the land on the morrow, after the Passover, unleavened cakes and parched corn in the self same day. And the manna ceased on the morrow, after they had eaten of the old corn of the land. Neither had the children of Israel manna any more, but they did eat of the fruit of the land of Canaan that year.
So you see the connection with Egypt on the negative side. So remember, Egypt, well, let's put it this way. Egypt has been restored, right? The United States is Egypt. Now, that is not so much a negative thing. If it is a real thing. Because if you have a US dollar, look on it and you see the emblems of ancient Egypt. So what is it telling you? That the Americans took the spirit of Egypt, and how did they know that that spirit would work for them? It would work against us. But yet, and we are the ones that work to build the economy. I mean, there's so much. Don't you think that if they really were smart enough, that they will work with us because they know who we serve? But you see, they're not allowed to think like that because of who they're serving. Yeah. And this is what I'm saying. You see, we have to work together because nobody else is going to join with us and say, let me help you. We got to do it by ourselves. So we have to be diligent. We have to be respectful. We have to be humble and obedient. These things are very important. We cannot act like let's say what it is. We cannot act like black people.
We need humility.
Yeah. You act like black people, you fail. Go ahead. Well, I don't want to say the N word. But my point is, we have to look, again, I'm going to keep harping on that covenant. Look at that covenant. You got baptized. Live up to your baptism. Otherwise, we're going to have to destroy you. Okay, when I said we, I'm not talking about me. We is French for yes. Okay?
Oh my gosh.
As simple as that. We say yes to you. All we ask is that you say yes to us. That's all. But take it as an awareness of the circumstances in which we live. Okay? It is not a threat. It is that you will face challenges. And we want to prepare you for them so that we are here to help you. If you have a challenge, we will find a way to the solution. But if you don't trust us, then we can't help you. If you don't trust yourself, and above all, if you don't trust the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and live up to the terms of the covenant that you signed with them, you can't. You're a failure. You're lost.
Exactly.
And don't think that hell is full. There's room.
Room.
There's room for everybody. Trust me.
Get your own suite.
Yes.
Verse 13. And it came to pass, when Joshua was by Jericho, that he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him, with his sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went unto him, and said unto him, Art thou for us, or for our adversaries? And he said, Nay, but as captain of the host of the Lord am I now come. And Joshua fell on his face to the earth, and did worship, and said unto him, What saith my Lord unto his servant? And the captain of the Lord's host said unto Joshua, Loose thy shoe from off thy foot, for the place whereon thou standest is holy. And Joshua did so.
Amen. Does that sound familiar? You see, when I see this, I read this, but I don't read it like you might read it, if I may be so presumptuous as to make that statement. You see, it says there was a man with a sword drawn. I don't see that as an ordinary man. You see, I see this man as a man, he's probably like 12 to 20 feet tall.
I mean, he was big enough for him to question. It's like, okay, are you with me, or the other guy's like, who are you?
But there lies the confidence of Joshua. He's there not to threat, but just to find out who you.
It also shows humility.
Yes,
too, right?
who you are, and you know who I am, and the confidence that he had, because he put the trust in the God of Israel, who said, "You're gonna be, we got you."
Yeah.
So, and here is this man who say, "Yeah, I got you back."
I'm the captain of the Lord's host. Like,
That's right.
It's like, oh.
The significant point here is that each one of us is a member of the army of God. Believe it or not. I know that today we think of the army and the military as bombs and weapons and guns. No. We don't need those things. Those are for ordinary people. Those are for common folks. We are royalty. We speak, and the waters listen and do exactly what we want. But that's only with the water. Wait till we bring down the fire. Then you're going to see what we're talking about. You see? The fire and the water. And when, think about it. I want you to think about blending fire and water. Think about it. That's all I will say.
I mean, that would be pretty hard, but
it is not as hard as you might think.
We're thinking physically, but
exactly. If you think physically, it will never happen, obviously. Right? But it happened at the Red Sea. It happened there at Jordan just now. The water you can see, but the fire you could not see. The Spirit was within the priest that had the Ark of the Covenant when they stepped into the water. The Spirit was there when Moses lifted up his hands at the Red Sea. Therein is the fire and water mingled. The same thing that happens at your baptism. Think about it. And think about how you could take advantage of this opportunity. Because it can happen to you. I'm not going to give away too many secrets. But just think about it. Let's go ahead.
Okay, so reading that part there, I actually just wanted to show the key importance of this part, because
can we do the part about where the Jericho, where the walls fell?
Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
I'm not even sure where that one is, but it just came.
Chapter 6.
Chapter 6. Yeah, you don't have to read the whole chapter because we only have half an hour. But
oh boy.
Maybe start from verse 12.
Hold on, let me see.
The reason why it is so important, because we are showing the power of the God of Israel and how Joshua was the perfect vessel to allow that power to manifest itself. Joshua followed the instructions there in his leadership, and he executed on those instructions. And the God of Israel did the rest.
You can start from verse 15, actually.
Okay, go ahead, please. Let's read that.
And it came to pass on the 7th day that they rose early about the dawning of the day, and compassed the city after the same manner 7 times. Only on that day they compassed the city 7 times.
So just to bring them up to date, they had to go around the city once a day, right? And they did it. And then on this day, the seventh day, they were going to do it 7 times on that day.
Yes.
And then, as we said earlier, they're going to shout. The priest will
we'll see
blow the horns. We have horn blowers here. We got 1, 2.
Right here.
We got Jacob back there, and Matthew, teacher Matthew. There's 3. We need one more horn blower. He's here.
It's Chris over there.
Oh, Christopher's here. Okay, so we got 4. Jacob's here. Yeah, that's 4. So Jacob, Christopher, Ezekiel, and teacher Matthew. Very good. Continue, please.
All right, verse 16. And it came to pass at the 7th time, when the priest blew the trumpets, Joshua said unto the people, Shout, for the Lord hath given you the city.
Right, and as we said earlier, it is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Right? And they blew the horns 7 times. And the city, well, you read it and see.
And the city shall be accursed, even it and all that are therein, to the Lord. Only Rahab, the harlot, shall live, she and all that are with her in the house, because she hid the messengers that we sent.
I like that story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this is why what I like about the God of Israel. So she was a harlot, right?
Rahab,
And they sent spies into the land to spy out the land. And the enemy kind of knew that the spies were coming. So they figured they were prepared to destroy them. But they did not know exactly who they were and where they were staying. So they probably checked all the Airbnb, all the hotels. And
Airbnbs?
yeah?
All the Airbnbs.
Yeah, what is it called?
Airbnb? You
Yeah.
said Airbnb.
ABC, that's right. Wait, you see, I'm glad. I never stayed at an Airbnb. I always stayed with the harlot, so it makes a difference. Anyway, the point is, my point here is that the God of Israel picked the harlot. Why? Because when you go into, this is what I heard from teacher Matthew, when you go into a new city, you always check out where the harlots are. As a man, checking out the harlots, nobody's going to question you, right? That's what men do. So my point is, you're going in, say the government put the agents out looking for these guys. You can't find, we got to see some strangers there, but they're just going to the harlots. Oh, that's normal. That's okay. That's not bad. Yeah. So they turn a blind eye. And the God of Israel is like, gotcha. So they spent the time there. Naturally, they're probably reading the Bible and discussing scriptures, right? And more importantly, however,
Oh, gosh.
they got all the instructions on what to do and what not to do. But she said, if you will provide protection for me and my family, then I could help you. And they said, okay. So we got a deal, right? And now when the time came, yes, they had to live up to she was the only one in that city that escaped alive. Mm-hmm. All the rest of the people were destroyed. And again, even though she was a harlot and everybody tended to turn their eyes up and forget, there is value in all of us. It all depends on what we've done and with whom we've done it.
And not only that, I find it fascinating how she knew, in a way, it's like she knew what was going to happen.
There's something different about these
You know,
guys.
she's seen these guys come. She's like, oh, these guys are the Israelites. Oh, like, let me help you guys
And she could have betrayed them.
Yeah, no.
She could have called them out and gotten paid.
She could have, but she probably heard the rumors. It's like, oh, these guys not to be messed around with. You know what, let me help them. Just please, I know I'm not one of you, but please give me this in return.
And they signed the agreement, and the rest is history. So it's not always what you think that goes on where you think is happening, right? Now, today I don't trust these places because you never know. The people that are in there might look just Might look just like you, so you don't want to do that.
Okay. Anyways, verse 18. And ye in any wise keep yourselves from the accursed thing, lest ye make yourselves accursed. When ye take of the accursed thing and make the camp of Israel a curse and trouble it. But all the silver and gold and vessels of brass and iron are consecrated unto the Lord. They shall come unto the treasury of the Lord. So the people shouted when the priest blew with the trumpets. And it came to pass when the people heard the sound of the trumpets, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city. And they utterly destroyed all that was in the city, both man and woman, young and old, ox and sheep and ass, with the edge of the sword. But Joshua has said unto the two men that had spied out the country, Go into the harlot's house, and bring out thence the woman, and all that she hath, as ye swear unto her. And the young men that were spies went in and brought out Rahab, and her father, and her mother, and her brethren, and all that she had. And they brought out all her kindred, and left them without the camp of Israel. And they burnt the city with fire, all that was therein. Only the silver and gold and vessels of brass and of iron they put into the treasury of the house of the Lord.
You know, you might laugh because you think what I'm saying may be funny. It's not really. But I just want you to know that the rest of the world is engaging in some kind of harlotness anyway. Is there a word? Such a word? Harlotness? My point is that they're doing all these evil things. So if you stayed in the Christian house, it's the same thing. That's the point I'm trying to make. So you have to remember exactly to stay according to the instructions given. And it is just that simple. If you violate the instructions, then you weaken your position. And that's all that is I'm trying to communicate.
Exactly.
Remember ancient Egypt in the days of Moses, just to show you a comparison, Moses stayed in the house of Pharaoh. And a lot of people might think, wow, that's powerful. But there's a strategy behind this. Moses knew exactly how Pharaoh thought. So if I know how you think, I know what your next move's going to be. Think of a game of chess. I know all your next moves. So I can react or counter all of them when the time is right. Such is the wisdom of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He knows exactly what you're going to be thinking, and he moves accordingly. So we can take advantage, or we can allow ourselves to be defeated by disobedience. The choice is ours.
Exactly. Okay. Verse 25. And Joshua saved Rahab the harlot alive, and her father's household, and all that she had, and she dwelleth in Israel even until this day, because she hid the messengers which Joshua sent to spy out Jericho. And Joshua adjourned them at that time, saying, Cursed be the man before the Lord that raiseth up and buildeth this city Jericho. He shall lay the foundation, therefore in his firstborn, and in his youngest son shall he set up the gates of it. So the Lord was with Joshua, and his fame was noised through all the country.
See, there is the power. Now, I don't know if you have another.
What do you got?
I was going to say we could touch on what's her name? Hadassah.
Hadassah?
Yeah,
okay,
Queen Esther.
We can touch that. Yeah.
Just maybe on the end of it. Because
we're coming.
We only have about 20 minutes left. So I know we wanted to do.
There's so many.
Yeah.
Like I said at the beginning, there's so many great leaders in this Bible that we could cover. Unfortunately, we could only cover so much. Joshua being one of them, but we have Esther, we got Deborah, you said Hadassah you wanted to cover.
Yeah, Esther is Hadassah. Yeah. So let's look at Esther.
But before we get into that, so just based off of listening to some of the stories when it comes to Joshua, you guys could see how Joshua was fit for this kind of job, because these aren't just little tasks that he's been asked to do. He's been asked to wipe out full cities, to break down walls, to carry the Ark of the Covenant, and to do this and do that. These are great responsibilities. And everything that he pretty much did is exactly what Moses did, coming out of the land of Egypt. So if you know the story of Moses, you've seen what he had to deal with and what he entitled to do. And that is not light work. That is not light work at all.
And today we have our Moses with us. We have our Joshua with us. Just to put it in plain text, our elder Shadrach is like our Moses. He is the one that brought us the name of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's the one that gave us the laws, the statutes, the judgments. He revived the entire Israelite nation. He built the priesthood. He gave us, there's so much. Everything you see here. Yeah.
Yes, we gotta give
exactly
that. Because he showed us who we are in this book.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's not just that he taught, which he did, he lived it.
Exactly.
So that therein is the issue, because by walking on the same path, we could follow him, because we think, well, if we do what he's doing, we can get through it as well. And that's been our inspiration.
And not only that, it's like every other verse you see the word Israelite, Israel, but they call this a Christian book.
Exactly. But
so I'm just saying,
the ones that call it the Christian books are the stupid people.
Yeah, they don't even read the whole thing.
They don't have a clue. And they're not supposed to teach from this book, so they're in violation of the very mandate of this book. We are the only ones authorized to teach. Read it, Matthew 28, 16 to 20. Nobody else. I don't care what you call yourself. That's totally irrelevant. Let's go according to the terms of the agreement. Exactly. We are the only ones with the covenant. So I don't talk to people that try to teach me. You can ask a question, but you haven't. And your question better be relevant too, by the way.
Authorized leaders only.
Right. And then, so that is our Moses. And now we come to our Joshua. I don't see him now. Our Joshua is Elder Randall. And Elder is passed the baton of righteousness onto Elder Randall. He's going to lead us into the promised land when the time is right. So he's not here. He's gone. But my point is, all we read about Joshua will pertain to him one day. Exactly. And we will support him the same way we supported our elder Shadrach. And that's what it's all about. And we're going to need those 12 priests or those 7 priests to carry the Ark of the Covenant when the time is appropriate. So all of you guys, prepare yourself.
Exactly.
And let's take a look at Hadassah, Queen Esther. We only have a few minutes, but we want to just get into that. She is, I think we could go to the last chapter, or let's see. Maybe I'll go to chapter 4, start there and build on that. So go to Esther chapter 4. We'll read a few verses just to give a brief synopsis. And then we'll go to the end of it. So, yeah.
Fine.
I'm going to start at chapter 4. I'll read a couple verses.
Chapter 4?
Yeah. Or maybe you'll go to chapter 3. Start at 3. Verse 8.
Okay. Verse 8. And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus.
Now keep in mind that Haman is an Amalekite, and he is a little bit upset with Mordecai because Mordecai was not submitting to him. So he's one of those puffed up guys. But he has a high position with King Ahasuerus, who was the king of Persia at the time. Okay.
Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom. And their laws were diverse from all the people, neither keep they that king's laws. Therefore, it is not for the king's profit to suffer them.
So who do you think those people would be? Israelites. Yeah, we were scattered back in the day for 70 years amongst those people. And obviously we kept our own laws. Like today, we are living in a Christian land, but we don't serve the same God, and we don't behave the same way as Christians do. Thank God, right? Mm-hmm. So the same thing can happen to us today. But anyway, we'll see. Go ahead.
If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed, and I'll pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that had the charge of the businesses, to bring it into the king's treasuries.
So he's going to pay to do this because he's going to take all of our property. If he destroys our people, then he can afford to pay. He's using our money to pay them.
And the king took his ring from his hands and gave it unto Haman, and the son of Hammedatha, and the Agagite, the Jews' enemy. And king said unto Haman, the silver is given to thee, the people also to do with them as it seemeth good to thee. Then were the king's scribes called on their 13th day of the first month, and there was written according to all that Haman had commanded unto the king's lieutenants, and to the governors that were over every province, and to the rulers of every people of every province, according to the writing thereof.
Okay, so we're going to skip because we don't have a lot of time to verse 4. You have a comment?
Just what I'm thinking sitting down there. It's funny because always you're thinking the family tree, like your family history. Everyone is always looking for their family history. So we go into, ancestry.com and all these things to try and figure out our legacy or what lineage we came from. But sitting down in here is the family tree.
Yes.
From the first scripture all the way through is the same exact story, the same exact culture, the same exact things that they do. When one leader leave, another leader comes up, but the leader has to continue the same laws, statutes, commandments, the same everything, Passover. That is your family tree. But for us to go outside and just even tell somebody that, you won't be getting the humility that you get here. Even to have like a friend, a friend to Israel. Like for me, I'm at work, and I'm telling you, whenever something gets ordered for lunch, even if I'm not there the day, when I get in and everybody else gets their pizzas and whatever, you would hear, Sophie, your stuff is over there.
Yes.
Totally different. They make sure it's separated. They make sure it's not even touching anything. And again, it's how you conduct yourself. And I think that's when people know that, hey, these people are different.
Yeah.
It really is, because we have, I believe there's some friends in this world that just because of what you do, they would make sure you're good. It's not to say they're following your God, but they'll make sure
it's
you're good.
Like you're a magnet. Like you have this certain attraction about yourself.
Yeah.
I've experienced that.
Yeah, they put someone there to assist you. And,
Right.
And keep in mind that all trees are not equal. There are trees of righteousness, and then there's other trees.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even just hearing, the stories today is just my mind is just going, and the connection is going, and I'm just feeling overjoyed. I'm really feeling happy that in my time of living, I get to connect with the true and living God. Exactly. The God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. That is what I'm thinking in my mind, because I was born into nothing. Really and truly, you're born into nothing. So again, how do we come to the point that we're sitting in here and listening? But I like what was said, to Joshua is just make sure, continue the same laws, statutes, and commandments. Exactly. Don't depart, because once you stick to this, I am with you. So it's telling you that there's going to be some endurance, there's going to be some ups, there's going to be some downs. But you know what?
Very courageous.
There you go. As long as you do what you have to do, don't worry, I got your back. The God of Israel's got you. And that's what I keep doing, being in this nation, is just thinking with that mindset, because endurance there's a lot to endure, but you just have to always keep your seat, as I always say.
And to your point, as we said at the beginning, we're entering into the 13th month tomorrow. People don't know that we haven't yet entered into 2024. We have one more month of 2023. But people don't know that there's God's calendar and then there's Satan's calendar. And Satan's calendar, as we said at the beginning, your new year starts in the middle of winter, which is January 1st. There's December, there's January, and there's February. Winter.
There's nothing new about that.
Nothing
year.
new about it. And nothing
It's all
can
the same.
grow there.
Nothing
But
can
comes
grow.
March, April,
Everything's dead.
everything comes up in April, March and April. So this is the first month, in 2 months from now, the beginning of a new year, 2024. And life begins. So why don't people understand this? We are the only people on the planet that live accordingly. You cannot find this teaching anywhere else. Why can't we work together in harmony? Why do we have to be selfish? Why do we have to be niggerish? You know, so we need to remove all of that negative behavior. Do what your father said to do. Simple. The days of slavery are over. They were over 2020.
2020.
What happened after slavery? COVID. Over 1 billion people died. Am I right, Nurse Joan? Over 1 billion people. Never before. It affected every single person on this planet. Those in the womb and those outside the womb. Never before in the history of humanity did any disease affect so many people every place on this planet. Doesn't that tell you something about our enslavement?
Crazy times.
Doesn't it tell you that we serve the greatest God that there is? The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Don't mess with these Israelites, my friends. Go to 14. Go to chapter 4, 15.
Chapter 4?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go to chapter 4, verse 15.
Yeah.
Want me to read from 14, or you want to start at 15?
We don't have a lot of time.
Okay.
So anyway, this guy Haman is trying to destroy the Israelites of Persia. So we're finding a way to fight back. And it just so happens that Queen Esther she has the ear of the king. So normally you don't approach the king unless he calls you. But she took it upon herself to do this. She had the confidence to do it. And he accepted her. And let's go to chapter 4, sorry.
Chapter 4, verse 15.
Verse 15. Just
Then
read.
Esther bade them return Mordecai this answer: Go gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day, as I also and my maidens will fast likewise. And so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law. And if I perish, I perish. So Mordecai went his way and did according to all that Esther had commanded him.
See, I wanted to show her reaction, her response. They're trying to kill all the Israelites. And Esther says, let's do a fast. What is she saying with that message? Says, let's lift our hands up to heaven, call on our Father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, and ask for his assistance. And in the process, we're not eating anything or drinking anything.
Exactly.
Right? So I don't know how long the fast is for. Maybe 3
It's 3
days.
days.
Huh?
3 days. it
3
says.
days. Okay,
Yeah.
good. So for 3 days, and they would pray probably 7 times a day, or maybe 3 times a day. I don't know. But my point is, they committed themselves to the service of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I like that.
Before anything
Before they
else.
took any action on themselves. Go ahead.
So, Elder Michael, this is just a question that I've had. Knowing what we know now
Yes.
in our time, which is the truth, do you think, or do you both think that, I know we talk about reparations all the time, but for me, I believe that physically, I can't see reparations being given out because they just see black. So, and black people fight amongst each other. So I don't know who's going to be getting the pot because somebody's going to say, I was in slavery more than this person. So I don't really see that being handed out the proper way. So do you believe that spiritually, knowing the truth is the reparation that we're going to be getting? Like, is that our reparation, which is the truth?
I think that is, what do they call that? They should come up with great substance. I think that could be great substance, but reparations, I think, is separate. I think to know the name of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and have the ability to call on that name is a privilege and an honor. But I think that the nations of this world owe us a lot. And I could prove that from history. I could show that we built the platform that allowed the United States to achieve not only power, but economic prosperity. I could show that China traded with them, and Britain and France and all of the nations in Europe. Because it's not the nation that enslaved us alone, it's those that benefited from the profit that that nation earned as a result of our labor. Exactly. And we never got paid one dime. So I think that that reparation is going to come. How it's going to come, I don't know. But I can't see us getting a check. But I could see a check coming to the Israelite nation. I could see that. Because then we have the council in place to disperse that check through all the world to those that serve the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Because you have to trust. You have money. You have to be careful when it comes to people that look like us.
Oh, of course.
No, I'm serious.
Because they still have that old wine that, like, you know.
Yeah, look, when I was in Atlanta, I was telling Obama, I didn't get a chance to talk to him personally, but he had some problems. Yeah, he had some problems with the banks because all the banks in the world were suffering and they were about to collapse. Here in Canada too. And I was just telling him, you know what, Obama, you should give the black people, each one of them, $100,000. Every black man, give him $100,000. Why? Instead of giving the $100,000 to the bank, give it to the child of slavery. That child will spend at least $300,000 to $500,000 that year. That is our mentality.
Of course.
And the bank will still get it. They'll get it plus. You
They'll
see?
get it anyways.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and the economy would take off. So if you really want to have a thriving economy, pay the children of slavery as much as you can. And trust me, they will make you rich. You will never have to work again.
Exactly.
I just wanted to add to what you're saying, Elder Sophie, with reparations. Just thinking about it, like first to acknowledge the fact that we suffered those 400 years of enslavement because of our disobedience. That oppression is we inflicted upon ourselves. We're masochists. We like pain. So we suffer oppression because of our disobedience. The reparation, for me, is us repairing that breach that we made with our God. It's up to us to right those wrongs. And he, in turn, will find that blessing or that substance. Like when we left Egypt, he said, borrow the gold from your neighbor. Take the gold from your neighbor. Right. Or he'll use kings like in Babylon. Whatever it is, he'll find ways to give us our blessings and our rewards. But it's up to us first to acknowledge that we did him wrong and then repair that wrong by coming back into the family and doing his law, statutes, commandments, and just living our life as a true Israelite and servicing him and being with the family so that he then in turn will give us our reward and our blessing as it was intended from the very beginning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know that we're short on time and that we're going over, but I completely agree
100%.
Yes. With Officer Doreen. Reason being is because every nation looks at us and they always say, well, why do you deserve or why should you get? Yeah. Everyone else has to work for what they have. I don't look at reparations. I just look at that what has to be repaired is our relationship with our God.
Amen.
Once we repair that relationship and we do what we're supposed to do, as the scripture says, other nations will look at us and say, wow, look at that nation, such a wise and prudent nation that has God so near unto them. Yes. And that is the only existence for the Israelite. If the Israelite is not close to his God, he is nothing, and no one will give you anything. You will not be recognized for anything until you are one with your God. That's the Israelite problem.
I agree 100% with that, because, and listen, I have a plan for reparations also. And the plan, as you said, involve our service to the God of Israel. And the nations, when they see us working together, would want to know how they can make a contribution to us, right? Just like a donation, right? And we will say, okay, fine, here's what we'll do. We will talk to our God to help you. And they will get their blessings if they give us assistance. They'll have more rain. Their crops will multiply 100%, and so on. But the ones that are supposed to give us and refuse, they'll get no rain. They'll all die.
That being said, I hope today, brethren, guests, people in the cyber world, that you guys actually, you got something from our discussion today. Unfortunately, we weren't able to talk about everything. We have a lot that we wanted to talk about, but my whole point is that at least you guys learned something, learn something about leadership, learn something of being an Israelite of valor, and take it into your everyday world. Take it, you don't have to just be a leader here. Be a leader out there, teach, take responsibility.
Demonstrate your leadership.
And not only that, cyber world, like, comment, share, subscribe. You know what to do.
Yes, and send donations.
And donate.
Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries.
Yes.
Thank you. Peace.
Peace.
Praise him for his mighty acts. Praise him according to his excellent greatness. Praise him with the sound of the trumpet. Praise him with the psaltery harp. Praise him with the timbrel and dance. Praise him with the string instruments and